I planned on giving you guys an update today on ratings and attendance for the Dump Olympics, known to the mainstream media as the WNBA playoffs. But that is going to have to wait. We might get into that tomorrow or Monday morning. I received a flurry of emails and DMs on Twitter last night about the latest revelations coming out of the BYU situation with Rachel Richardson. I had no intention of talking about this again, but since so many of you guys sent all these updates to me, I figured we could go ahead and get into it one more time. I even had several current and former members of the media contact me privately about this. There is so much emotion coming from both sides. The 1% of the population who believe the account of Rachel Richardson and her fairy godmother, who kind of resembles Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show. But the 1% of the people that believe them, they are pissed off about the mythical racism. They are doing what shitfucks do best, pretending to believe in myths and fantasies and exhibiting their fake outrage about it. The other 99% of us, otherwise known as normal people, people who read fiction in the mainstream media and realize it's not true, people who read the media for entertainment and not reliable information, all of us, we are aggravated with the mainstream media because they continue presenting this story of mythical racism knowing it's been proven false. This is the reason the mainstream media has no credibility. It would be one thing if outlets like the Salt Lake Tribune or the New York Times, it would be one thing if they initially bit into this shit sandwich, then issued a retraction once it was proven to be mythical racism. But no. We cannot admit this as propaganda. We have an agenda to push. We must continue victimizing the African American community so they will never be able to get ahead. The same people supposedly fighting for the black community are the very people that are keeping them down. I told you guys yesterday when BYU announced they are happily bending over and taking the cucumber. Give me all of that cucumber. Ooh, pound my bongo. I told you guys, this would not be enough to appease the woke shitfucks. They would look at BYU eliminating their student section as a sign of weakness, and they would do everything they could to exploit it. Woke shitfucks, they're like a pack of dogs. They have a strong sense of smell. When you spend most of your time in dumps, you develop the ability to smell a freshly dropped mythical racism turd from miles away. But they also have this ability to smell fear. And the fear is abundant right now at BYU. I racked my brain this morning trying to think of another situation where a story was so blatantly false and an organization continued to react out of cowardice instead of fighting back. If there was such a thing as the Pussy Awards, BYU would be the clear winner. As predicted, BYU stepping into the confessional at Woke United Methodist and atoning for their sin of mythical racism only opened them up to more abuse. People have quit sending fan mail to BYU. They are now sending them Preparation H. The college basketball season set to tip off in a couple of months. When college basketball begins, it also signals the beginning of what the media calls women's college basketball. The rest of us, we call it the cure for insomnia. Women's basketball at both the college and semi-professional level has been fully infected by the woke fungus. BYU, South Carolina, they had agreed to a home-and-home series. Both teams were set to open their season in a couple of months playing against each other. That is, until Dawn Staley stepped in. You guys remember Dawn Staley, right? Never has a first name been more unfitting. Instead of being named Dawn, which represents light, her name should be Dusk Staley because this shitfuck promotes nothing but darkness. This is the same woman who led a group of young women to kneel for the national anthem during the Final Four. Why? We must protest mythical racism. Dusk? What racism are you protesting? My people are oppressed. Just look at the WNBA. Those men are doing phenomenal things. No one misses dunks like Liz Cambridge. No one airballs free throws like Natasha Cloud. Few men can grow a beard like Breonna Stewart. Yet America refuses to embrace them. This is the oppression I'm talking about. Not only is this mythical misogyny, it's also mythical racism. Let me tell you how radical Dusk Staley is. This woman accused ESPN of mythical racism. ESPN, Black Entertainment Television, the network dedicated to the fight to end myths and fantasies, the network that airs fictional dramas on racism in America, the network that pays millions of dollars in woke welfare to Pastor Jalen Rose and brother Stephen A. Smith, two men who are skilled in crafting mythical stories. And you expect me to believe ESPN's guilty of mythical racism? The reason Dawn Staley charged ESPN with this crime, they didn't invite one of her black players to the ESPYs this year. Now, most people would take the lack of invitation to the ESPYs as a compliment. It's like not being invited to a wedding. But ESPN, they didn't just exclude black players. They excluded white players too, who were up for Player of the Year in women's college basketball. We talked about this a couple of months ago. Race had nothing to do with these women not being invited. ESPN didn't invite them because their audience doesn't care about women's college basketball. Dawn Staley announced yesterday that she was canceling South Carolina's home-and-home series with BYU. Her reason? It's my job as head coach to do what's best for my players and staff. I don't feel it's the right time for us to engage in this series. Let me translate that for you from shitfuck to English. I know this story of mythical racism is bullshit, but it's my job as head coach to continue pushing this lie. Therefore, I am going to send out a virtue signal on Twitter to let my followers know I am leading the charge in this fight against mythical racism. If I'm BYU, I would gladly accept this cancellation. If Dawn Staley and her players traveled to BYU in a couple of months, there would just be more fabricated stories of mythical racism. One of my players came to me at halftime. She was so triggered. She heard a white man order vanilla ice cream instead of chocolate. Another player was in tears. An evil white man in a BYU shirt was booing each time she went to the free throw line. The pain, the agony, it's too much for me to bear. Grab my cucumber. It's not only Dawn Staley continuing to virtue signal and push this fairy tale. There are plenty of white people, too, who wanted to join the fight against Marty Myth. Ooh, we must atone for our white privilege. Let's all join the community circle jerk and squeeze this white privilege out of our bodies. Grab the hand lotion. This could take a while. I scoured through the dregs of society. Some people call it Twitter, to check out all of this atonement. I immediately took a shower after viewing all of this filth. I don't know about you guys, but I would rather go to bed drenched in sweat than go to bed drenched in the aroma courtesy of inhabitants of the dump. UTEP, the University of Maryland, Penn State, the Big East, Northwestern, Hawaii, Harvard, the list goes on and on. They all participated in the blackout racism movement. That's an interesting name. I'm not exactly sure how I should interpret that. But last night in the Virgin Emporium, blackout racism and Stand with Rachel Richardson were trending. I have a question. Someone please explain to me, why are we standing with Rachel Richardson? What crime is she a victim of? I'll tell you what. I will stand with Rachel Richardson. I will stand with her because she is being used by her fairy godmother. She is being used by the woke media. This young woman's being used and doesn't even know it. The blackout racism campaign was full of virtue signaling. Ooh, were we given some good virtue signals? Volleyball teams across the country wore all black shirts. Twitter images were changed to all black colors. Slogans were created and promoted. Stand against racism. Stand against racism. What fucking racism? I feel like a parrot because I keep repeating the same statement. This never happened. This entire story was fabricated. I cannot think of another situation where something has essentially been proven false and people continue running with it like it's the truth. BYU could have put an end to this. All they had to do was fight back. When they bent over and accepted the cucumber, not only was this a signal that BYU was down with the butt bongo, but it was also an endorsement that BYU believed Rachel Richardson was telling the truth, that she was a victim. Shit like this It makes it harder for victims of real racism to come forward. It's no different than what women go through with sexual assault. There have been so many false claims of sexual assault, it makes it difficult for real victims to come forward. We have been given so many cases of mythical racism. When you hear a story of real racism, you don't believe it. When we first talked about this last weekend, my first reaction was skepticism. Instead of looking for ways to confirm Rachel Richardson's story, I was looking for holes in her story, looking for ways to show it wasn't real. She was interviewed by ESPN a few days ago. Not one time did ESPN question the validity of her story. Not one fucking time. Instead, ESPN treated her like a hero. Look at this brave young woman. Even after all she's been through, she continues preaching a message of woke love. This is the result of a complicit media. This is the result of an agenda-driven media. Facts don't matter. The only thing that matters is the narrative. If we had an honest media, this story would have been over and dead in 24 hours. Instead, here we are a week later, and every day Rachel Richardson is a bigger victim than she was the day before. Then they wonder why people aren't more sympathetic. Hopefully, this is the last time we have to talk about this bullshit. My plan for tomorrow, like I said, give you guys an update on ratings and attendance in the dump. But give me your thoughts on this. Dawn Staley, virtue signaling and canceling games with BYU. Mainstream media, along with numerous universities, volleyball programs, they continue pushing this story like it's true. Give me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Keep hitting that like button for me. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell. We come with new content here every day on the channel. If you come across a topic that you want me to cover, shoot me an email, btlkc84@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at kc_btl84. See you guys tomorrow.